I was just wondering. Amelia and I are super in love, so...
Ollie, what are you...
Honey Muffin, I just have a simple question.
Well, it's not Twilight, but hey, they're a far more interesting couple than Calvin and Haley, so I approve.
閉ざされた空間で動かない時計を見てるだけ誰かを欺いて
Hello and welcome to KamenRider Blackman, and today we'll be discussing episode 3 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, Lost Signal. And this episode was pretty fine. I'd rated a 8 out of 10. There are some minor things with it, but I don't know. There are some minor issues with it, but they're not entirely bad to ruin the episode. So the whole thing with the episode overall is that Zato has received this message from like 65 millions of years ago, and he's trying to decipher it to see what it could be from, or if it could be from his home planet Rafcon. To which, by the way, this episode starts off with amazing acting from Russell Curry. I mean, fantastic. I don't know if I said this before or not, but it's true. I think Zato is the Takeshi Hongo of Power Rangers, or is on his way of being the Takeshi Hongo of Power Rangers, because he's so stoic. And in how this episode starts off is that he's reminiscing and missing his home, basically. He's homesick. We even get a flashback of his mom giving him a pendant for when he was inducted to be a Knight of Rafcon. It's beautiful. It's good acting. Amazing. And I like it. And the rest of the episode is trying to decipher this message. And, well, it gets a little silly because while Amelia wants to go see a psychic to see what the message might be, or at least get a description of it, Ollie would rather use science. That's the first part. And, okay, that's the other part. I think here's what my issue is with the episode, which is not a big one. I think it's that they were trying to focus on two things as opposed to like have one thing. I think that's what was so good about episodes 1 and 2. They both had one objective. Episode 1 was about Dino Hinge and what was going on there, which led to them being Power Rangers. And episode 2 was about different ways to alert people about the Sporex while thinking of how to find all the Sporex. And in this, it was juggling two things at once. I feel like it'd be much better if it was just focused on the one. And when the Monster of the Week shows up, that gets shelved for later, and then we focus on that. And for the most part, yeah. Now, another thing I want to talk about in this episode is in this episode there were some notable comedic moments. So I just wanted to go through some examples of good comedy, or at least see the examples in this episode for the good comedy and the bad comedy. What I'd be going over would basically be what I found funny and what wasn't funny. Because some stuff was funny, but pretty mild, while other stuff was just trying to be obviously mild, and it didn't work. So, here's some examples with the good comedy. Amelia asking Ollie for $15 so that they could all go see a psychic, just to give a description of the lost signal. Good comedy. It was funny. It's something that we can all relate to. It's funny. And here's another example of something that's... Here's another reason why I like Ollie, because he's a dick for this one. Ollie uses Amelia to prove that their psychic that they went to was a sham, and it works. It's like I said, he's the realest of the group, and I love it because he's such a dick about it. And so, here's the example of bad comedy with Amelia's boss and Jay Borg. It doesn't take up the whole episode, just for a small part. Like, I've even heard and read online that this season doesn't have a Vulcan skull. But it felt like Amelia's boss and the Jay Borg were trying to be like the Ben and Betty for this season. But hopefully that's just for one episode, and I didn't really find it funny. They go to the psychic, see if they have psychic power, see if the boss has psychic power so that she can detect Sporex. Didn't work, and Jay Borg accidentally steps in concrete. That's not funny. Also, before we get into the introduction of the Dino Fury Megazord, I want to talk about the promo that was out for this episode, and it was of Zato fighting the Monster of the Week blindfolded, which, while quite impressive, that's about it, actually. It was actually quite impressive, because he was using the Sonic Dino Key to actually listen to know where the monster is coming from, and yeah, I just find that impressive. Using other senses to fight better. Yeah, I have no words really. But, or at least I can't make a sentence. So, now, let's talk about the introduction of the Dino Fury Megazord. While it's not a bad introduction, something just came to mind to me about it. Now, there's the Dino Fury Megazord and the T-Rex Champion Zord battle mode. Now that we have the Megazord, I just now realize the name for the T-Rex Champion Zord's battle mode, it could be something, well, kind of different now, because what is there to really differentiate the battle mode from the Megazord? Like, for example, think of in Ryu Soldier, there's Kishiru-O, which is just Teramigo by himself, and then there's Kishiru-O 3 Knights with 3 Zords together. Same name, but more added on to it to actually differentiate the two. So you think now, I'm just looking at the battle mode thinking, what's so different between this and the actual Megazord? So I feel like it would help if the T-Rex Champion Zord's battle mode had a different name, like Dino Fury Champion Zord. And then with the other two on, then it's the Dino Fury Megazord. That's just an idea in mind. And I think it works. I feel like I was going to talk about one more thing, but what was it? It was something. I just forgot. It was... I totally forgot. But no, I guess that's everything. I guess that's everything there. So, what are my overall thoughts on this episode? It was fine for the most part. And, well, oh, now I remember what I wanted to say. This episode, it's a good episode, fine for the most part, but what's really so impressive about it is that very little Sentai footage was actually used, because there was the first fight, there was the first Morph fight, which wasn't long, and then the Megazord fight. I need water. And the rest of the time, it was all original footage, like the blindfolded fight, everything. the plan being hatched, everything. It was phenomenal. I find that impressive because, yeah, think about, I guess in this case, RPM, where for some episodes they used very little Sentai footage, and yet good plot. The stock footage was still used for the Megazord fight, but still good. This was just not, well, this was just good because of that. Very little Sentai footage used, and yet still came up with a good plot, premise, and well execution. I think that's all I had to say. But what else makes it impressive? I just found more to talk about. What else makes it the more impressive is that this is episode 3 of Dino Fury, and in Ryu's Soldier, this was episode 3 where Black and Green were introduced. So that thought there makes me look at it more like, okay, so that's how they did it. And so, yeah, pretty much. And of course, for next week, that's when we will officially be introduced to our Black and Green Rangers. So, looking forward to that. Now, that's everything I wanted to talk about. Thank you guys for watching. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And I will see you all next time. Peace.